Previously on Power Reviews.
A synth-organic biomechanoid.
I saw the rift open.
The fluctuation in the cross-dimensional continuum.
What did you just do to this ship?
Going into the rift.
The landlord.
K-Alpha.
Get her to the ship and keep her safe.
Hold on!
Goodbye.
No! Dark Spectre. He copied me.
The wireless interdimensional interface portal alignment device.
Every little hop, skip, and jump was just another poke through the fabric of reality.
Wireless interdimensional interface connection severed.
Cog?
And why can the Turbo Falcon headbutt reality?
My child. She's quite resourceful.
Time to play!
It's Darkonda. The party ends now, Darkonda!
My agents were inside of that thing. My daughter!
I will take you to Master.
I forged the Ranger keys. Power Rangers have already danced to my designs.
Database, be ready.
Look out!
That voice.
Let the power
Wait.
protect you.
Zordon?
And now, Database Rangers Power Review.
Greetings, Ranger fans, and welcome to Revelation.
Zordon's alive!
What?
How? I don't know! I heard his voice outside, and I don't know where it was coming from, and I've got a whole lot of questions right now. Pretty much nothing was like I thought it was. Like this ship, how could you not tell me that this ship could turn into a Megazord?
It was still in the prototype phase. I honestly wasn't sure it would work. Something you could have mentioned earlier. Also, our initial excursion into the landlord's stronghold required distance and stealth. For this mission, we wanted to get up close and personal.
Well, that was very much appreciated, and I really needed the help, and I really missed you guys, and could we just pause the expeditions for a moment and get a real quick group hug? Would that be okay? Thank you. Okay, so, quick recap. The landlord is actually Dark Spectre.
What?
Yeah, long story.
Well, that would explain Darkonda.
Darkonda?
Another long story.
I'm gonna guess it has something to do with the whole I tore apart the soul of the last one who tried to destroy me and the fragments became one with the shadows thing that Dark Spectre was talking about.
Yeah, apparently those soul fragments ended up in the more Potsners and the Omega agents, and when they all got back together, it was really not pretty.
So you guys actually went toe-to-toe with Darkonda. How?
Airlock.
Airlock. That was a good idea.
But not before he absorbed every alphabet soup agent on the ship to form his new body, and rendered the more Potsners and directors all comatose.
That is less good.
Dr. C is monitoring them for the moment, and the secretary is running the bridge. We're down to a skeleton crew for now.
And K-Alpha?
She's in containment. She was willing to cooperate long enough to lead us to the Dark Spectre's fortress. But after that...
She hasn't said a word.
Okay, so it's just us then. Facing off against two of the worst monsters in Power Rangers history. We're apparently immortal, it seems. And we still have no idea what they're planning. Except that it might involve every Power Ranger that has ever existed.
What?
Yeah, I didn't get a whole lot of details on that. All I know is that it has something to do with the Ranger keys.
Wait, the Super Megaforce Ranger keys?
Apparently, they were all forged by Dark Spectre and K-Alpha for something. Don't know what. And as far as how they all ended up with Gosei, I'm still figuring out that part. But I think I know who might have the answers.
Zordon?
Exactly. He's been reaching out to me through the void, and if I can just find a way to reach back, I think we might be able to finally get the answers we're looking for.
So what are you gonna do? Just jump outside the ship and see if you get any cell reception?
That's pretty much the idea, yeah. Don't worry, I'll stay morphed and I'll come right back inside if the sensors pick up any danger.
And what do you expect us to do? Just stay inside and wait?
No, I'm trusting you guys to find a way to contact the other Power Rangers. They need to know what Dark Spectre is planning. We need to warn them, and we're going to need whatever help we can find.
Well, that seems like a bit of an understatement. Guy, you and the secretary will run the bridge while the rest of us work on the communications relay.
Understood.
Thanks, guys.
You be safe out there. We just got you back. We don't want to lose you again.
I'll be okay. I promise.
I'm gonna hold you to that.
Well, okay then. I'm just gonna go now and talk to Zordon. Gotta go talk to Zordon. Yep, that's the thing I've got to do.
Do try to stay focused.
Right. Okay. Here Here we go. It's morphin' time. Alright, so, Zordon? Mr. Zordon? Sir? Are you here? No, that was stupid. That sounds stupid. Gotta try something more, Zordon! Great sage and wizard of Eltar! The Phantom Ranger calls for your aid! We have need of your help! Please? No, that isn't going to work. I should have known better.
Ranger.
Zordon? Zordon, is that you?
That name.
Please tell me I've got the right number here. Zordon, we need your help.
Can't.
Zordon?
Can't remember.
Zordon, are you alright?
Zordon.
You don't know, do you? You don't know who you are.
Ranger.
Ranger! Yes, Ranger, that's good. You remember the Power Rangers?
Power Rangers.
They're heroes, charged with defending the universe. You created the first team that humanity ever saw, and led them for years, inspiring future generations to continue their work. I can tell you about them if you'd like.
Please.
Okay. Well, I know it works for me, and I've got plenty of experience in the Lost Memories department. I find that stories really help. They help to make sense of things and put it all in context. So here's a nice story for you. One that I've been meaning to take a look at for a long time. One where the leading Rangers that you raised up work alongside the Rangers that followed after them. 10 Rangers, to be exact. All leaders themselves in one way or another, and all working together. Would you like to hear it?
Yes.
Alright then, here we go. This story is the 34th adventure of the Power Rangers Wild Force, and we'll call it Forever Red.
Once upon a time, on the gray moon orbiting the blue planet of Earth, there was a terrible green mechanical dragon, dormant and buried, and exhibiting deeply dated technological limitations.
No judgment on that front, of course.
Little gray robot men called cogs worked to dig it out, led by a quintet of Beetleborgs. I mean, robotic generals.
I mean, obviously they look like Beetleborgs. Well, Beetleborgs and Astralborgs.
Specifically, Fireborg with Lightningborg's body, Green Hunter, Dragonborg, Ladyborg, and Shadowborg.
But also they obviously can't be actual Beetleborgs, since that's a whole different franchise.
Franchise?
Well, you see,
3 typical average kids inside a haunted mansion. Just by chance, free to ghosts who made them.
Actually, you know what? Never mind. I'm getting way off topic right now, so just forget I said anything. Let's get back to the story.
The robotic excavation site has not gone unnoticed, as a young man in a cloak with some very distinctive highlights has been monitoring their activities. Unfortunately, he catches their notice as well, and is forced to flee as they chase after him on horseback.
Wait. Horseback?
Yes.
On the moon?
Yeah, that does raise a lot of questions. Really, a lot of stuff on the moon raises a lot of questions. Like, you know, the whole breathing thing. Although I'm pretty sure there is actually an atmosphere there, at least in the vicinity of the Moon Palace that was implied to have originally been established by the people of the M51 Galaxy to safeguard the Zeo Crystal in the Cave's Deception before it was taken over by the forces of Lord Zed. So, I guess it's fair to say that there might be a horse ranch up there too.
I suppose.
Maybe it's best if we just move on and try not to think about it.
Agreed.
The fleeing young man then reveals his identity as the Red Space Ranger, summoning his galaxy glider and soaring away to safety.
The Red Space Ranger?
Yes, you may have actually met him at some point, but we don't need to talk about that right now.
Instead, let's talk about Club Bulkmeyer, where Bulk himself plays Psycho Ranger chess with his old friend Skull.
Why, I even once met Lord Zed and Rita. Yeah? So did I.
And so did half of Angel Grove in that incident, when Master Vile decided that Ernie's Youth Center and Juice Bar was the perfect place to hold his end-of-the-world party to celebrate his temporary acquisition of the aforementioned Zeo Crystal.
But I digress.
You appear to do that often.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Anyway, their conversation is interrupted by the phone ringing, and after a brief scuffle that leaves Skull floundering in the swimming pool, Bulk answers it, and is shocked by what he hears on the other side.
You've got to be kidding me.
Database is attempting to communicate with him as we speak.
First Dark Honda, then Dark Spectre, and now Zordon? What next? Is Goldar coming back to life?
Let's not jinx things.
Just a minute.
Trepidatiously, the nervous Bulk and Soaked Skull approach an apparently high-rolling member of their clientele, clearly rendered unrecognizable by his short haircut, and inform him of the phone call.
Look, I know the roaming charges are going to be insane, but can we do it?
Well, the last time we attempted lines of communication across dimensions, it did lead to our facility being invaded by an army of demons. And then there was the time that we lost a pair of agents to a transdimensional tear because another pair of agents merged into a phase-shifting anomaly capable of generating localized destabilizations of reality. And then there was the time when we had to initiate the Bleach Protocol because the entire facility nearly became an interdimensional rift. So, who'd you say you had to call again?
Every Power Ranger in existence.
Oh, I'm sure things will be fine.
Meanwhile, in the city of Turtle Cove, a familiar yellow Humvee pulls into the park, where a collection of 5 color-coded friends are taking a breather. The tall driver gets out of the car, calling out to the sleeveless one in red, Cole Evans, the Red Wild Force Ranger, and introduces himself as Carter Grayson, the Lightspeed Rescue Red Ranger.
I was sent to recruit you for an important mission. The fate of the entire Earth is at stake. We need your help.
What about the others?
Oh, Taylor, Max, Alyssa, and Danny? Trust me, there's already going to be enough characters to keep track of in this story. At the very least, they still get more screen time than Merrick.
Screen time?
Sorry, I'll try to refrain from the meta references. Anyway, Carter gives Cole a ride in the rescue rover, and the two head off to the Nasada spaceport. You might actually remember Nasada. The commander, General Norquist, held stewardship over the Astro Megashuttle that was designed to combine with the Astro Megaship to form the Astro Megazord as a part of your master plan.
Master plan? What was the master plan?
Well, it was to, hide Zords in a bunch of places, I guess? Never really got the whole story on that. Was kind of hoping you would know more on that front.
Sorry.
So, at Nasada, they pull up into a hangar, where Cole is overjoyed to see Silver Guardians Wes and Eric again after their last team-up, prompting Carter to introduce them again for some reason.
So you've already met the Silver Guardians. Wesley Collins, Red Time Force Ranger. This is Eric Myers, the Quantum Ranger.
I thought you said that he already knew them. Do they have memory problems too?
One can only assume. Carter also treats us to our first real full-name introduction to Theodore J. Jarvis Johnson, better known as TJ, the Red Turbo Ranger.
Wouldn't that be TJJJ?
Technically, yes. And TJJJ introduces Cole to his old teammate, Andros, the Red Space Ranger.
Andros. I met him, yes?
Yes, although your last meeting was, not under the best circumstances, so we can just circle round back on that later. Andros then completes the chain of introductions by calling in the veteran leader who has gathered them all together for this mission.
Who is that? That's Tommy, the Red Zeo Power Ranger. He's a legend.
Tommy?
Yes, you remember Tommy?
No.
Really?
The name sounds familiar?
Yeah?
Vaguely.
Oh.
Was he always a Red Ranger?
Well, originally he was green, then later white, and a few years after that he was the Black Ranger as well.
That seems excessive.
Yeah, a lot of people would agree with you on that front. Tommy explains that Andros has tracked down the remains of the Machine Empire.
But I thought the Zeo Rangers destroyed them years ago.
Although technically that was you.
Him?
No, you.
Me?
Yes.
How?
That's a long story. Tommy explains that their generals had survived, amassing their forces on the moon for a final attack on Earth. And the plan is to stop them using
the Astro Megaship Mark II, fresh off the construction yards of KO-35, the fastest spaceship in the galaxy.
But Tommy warns them that it will be a dangerous mission, so the decision must be theirs.
I don't know much about spaceships or this machine empire, but I will go wherever I must to protect the Earth.
We're going to get them back, you know.
What?
Your daughter, the other agents. We're going to get them all back, whatever it takes.
Nice sentiment. But even if we do somehow get in touch with those Rangers, they don't always save everyone.
So the Red Rangers all decide to team up to save everyone. But then Andros remembers that there is another Red Ranger on Earth. Well, technically there should be 2 on Earth, but I don't know if Andros actually knew there was more than one Mighty Morphin Red Ranger. I mean, he had already known TJ, who obviously knew Tommy, and Carter's identity was public, so he would have been easy to track down, and he had already worked with Wes and Eric, who knew Cole, but Tommy's the only one out of the entire group who would have known both original Reds, so maybe he just hadn't mentioned it yet? Or maybe the implication here is that Rocky isn't on Earth for some reason?
Do they not have rocks on Earth?
No, that's not what I meant. Let's move on. Cole hears the sound of a motorcycle, so the 7 Rangers all run outside for a perfectly orchestrated crane shot to witness the arrival of the one and only original Red Mighty Morphin Power Ranger,
Jason Lee Scott.
Oh, wow, yes, you remember Jason. That's amazing. Do you remember Tommy now, too?
Which one was he again?
Huh, that's a lot to unpack. But you know what? We'll take what we can get and keep on rolling. So Jason, who presumably picked up motorcycling to impress his Zeo girlfriend Emily, ignores a sweaty handshake from newest newbie Cole, giving each of the other Red Rangers a quick once-over, before reuniting with Tommy for one last epic handclasp. And I do mean last, since in all the years since then, those two have not been seen together. Not even during the legendary battle, when they were literally in totally different parts of that giant quarry. And even the actors have somehow managed to never do any convention events together, which has led a lot of fans to suspect there's some sort of beef there, but I don't know what it is.
Is this about Earth cows?
No, sorry, not that kind of beef.
So have you and Guy managed to talk things out yet?
There hasn't exactly been a lot of time for chatter. We're still able to work together at the very least. I'm not going to pretend all actions are deserving of forgiveness.
Okay.
Let's focus on the matter at hand, shall we?
The 8 Rangers slow-mo march Armageddon style and lift off in the Astro Megaship Mark II. Meanwhile, on the moon, the leader of the machines rallies the troops by promising to make the Machine Empire great again. Meanwhile, on the distant alternate timeline planet of Miranoi, a familiar face pulls a sword from a stone. Actually, I've always kind of wondered if you had anything to do with that. Do you recall placing any swords in a stone?
I recall the musical Camelot.
Oh, wow, really?
It was very catchy.
Huh, didn't peg you for a Broadway fan. But you learn new things every day. Aboard the megaship, Andros confirms that Leo and Oriko are on their way. Then, never-before-seen fully sentient multifunctional automaton Alpha 7 cues up Tommy's PowerPoint about how the Zeo Rangers originally defeated the Machine Empire. Though again, technically that was you. Well, first Zed, then you. Well, in Mondo's case, they did destroy him with the Super Zeo Megazord, but then he came back, and then Tommy punched him, then Zed blew him up with a fake present, and then you finished the job.
Are you sure? It sounds like...
Oh, the dude's totally dust now. Trust me. But apparently he had a collection of 5 surviving robot generals and a mess of cogs who have all now united under General Vengeance. No relation.
To who?
Or at least I think it's no relation. With split timelines, it's hard to say. I really need to ask Kay about that when I get the chance.
Kay?
Oh, she's my best friend slash roommate slash YouTube co-host who at the age of 4 was abducted during the United Alliance of Evil invasion of 1998 by a shadowy government organization called Alphabet Soup, which was founded back in 1993 when Rita Repulsa was first released to prevent the Power Rangers from ever going rogue. But then when my ex-girlfriend Cassie helped found a centralized organization of Rangers called Hexagon after Pink Galaxy Ranger Kendricks fell in battle, Alphabet Soup forced Kay to develop a self-aware, self-generating computer virus called Vengeance, hence the connection, which accidentally got unleashed on the world when she tried to escape the facility, taking over Earth and not being defeated until years later by Kay's team of Ranger Series operators, after which she discovered the work of Vengeance's head of extra-dimensional research, Professor Cog, who was experimenting with a rift in outer space that allowed Kay to go back in time, save her child self, and generate a new divergent timeline, inadvertently leading to Alphabet Soup redirecting their efforts to extra-dimensional research, while the government simultaneously scrapped their Terra Venture project to found the Lightspeed project, leading to the string of Ranger teams that we're currently talking about now.
I see. That was a very long answer to a very short question.
Yeah, the last couple years have been pretty complicated. Anyway, back to what the cogs have been excavating on the moon.
Oh dear.
Serpentera.
That's not good!
Serpentera being Lord Zed's personal Zord that once wiped out an entire planet, convincing the collected Red Rangers that it will provide the Machine Empire with more than enough power to destroy Earth, despite every appearance since then demonstrating the battery life of a car parked with its high beams on.
It looks like we may have a teensy problem.
What is it?
Well, it seems that our previous attempts were only theoretically possible because we had a point of reference. An access point, if you will.
You mean the rift?
But we closed the rift when we entered the hiatus.
And that's precisely the problem. When we originally came through, we could backtrack our path to a certain extent, but now...
We've closed the door behind us.
But we've created portals before, with the Weep Pad, which Darkonda totally fried.
And I've checked. We don't have the resources to repair it. There's no fixing this. No one is coming to help us.
On the moon, though, our villains have apparently dealt with their power issues with the installation of a neoplutonium reactor. Although I'm pretty sure that it was originally mined for protective coating, it's nice they found an alternate use for it.
Well, not that nice, but you get the idea.
Our 8 unmorphed Red Rangers run in to break up the party. The 5 generals summon their cogs, and what kicks off is quite possibly some of the most skilled civilian fighting seen since the early days of the original Mighty Morphin teams. With TJGJ holding strong, Tommy's flying kicks and Jason's flips demonstrating that the veterans still haven't lost their touch, Eric showing off the skills of a seasoned stuntman, Andros handspringing like he's got an actual stuntman, Carter, shooting a bunch of times.
Which, I mean, it's effective, right?
And Wes batting some cogs around with their own spears while Cole goes totally savage.
Honestly, Zordon, you'd be so proud of all of them.
Sounds like an admirable demonstration of bravery and skill. Please, go on.
Okay, so...
This is when Cole spots the machine generals escaping and chases after them, getting blasted for his trouble and demonstrating that even Red Rangers don't always have the best judgment.
It's not the Power Rangers I'm placing my faith in. We've got something even stronger.
You better not say friendship.
Kay.
Oh yeah? Which one?
As much as she and I have had our disagreements, the Doctor has shown that she will rip the world apart to make things right. And with the 3 of them together in one place, we may just have the most powerful force in the multiverse. Dark Spectre doesn't stand a chance.
Well, let's hope you're right.
Fortunately, Cole gets snatched up by our final 2 Red Rangers. Leo, the Red Galaxy Ranger of Miranoi, and Orko, the Red Alien Ranger of Aquitar, fully morphed and cruising in on Leo's jet jammer, which they quickly abandoned because I guess that thing's just designed to always be crashing into moons. Oh, also, Orko very oddly sounds like he's spent a lot of time visiting Earth's surfer beaches since we last saw him.
Are you okay?
But anyway, the 3 reconnect with the others, and Leo briefly demorphs to say hi to Andros before unexpectedly remorphing and demorphing again in the next 4 seconds.
Probably due to the instability inherent in cross-dimensional travel, much like that one time that Kay disappeared from my apartment or T Omega got hit by that car, but there's not time for that.
Because, Zordon, can you guess what time it is?
Wait, I know this one.
Yes?
It's...
Yes?
It's...
Yes?
It's morphin' time!
Yes!
Yes, 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 yes!
Zordon, you're really back!
It is good to see you again, old friend.
It's great to see you too. Wait, old friend. Zordon, do we know each other?
We've known each other for a very long time, Phantom Ranger. Do you not remember?
Sorry, I've been dealing with a bit of amnesia myself. My positronic brain got scrambled when my ship got pulled through the rift, and it's a really, really long story.
I understand. My mind is also still scattered. Perhaps, if you could finish your tale, we can both find some clarity.
I'd love to, Zordon.
After the 10 Rangers morph and perform their roll calls, generating the biggest residual runoff of red biofield energy ever seen in one place, the 2 sides charge, the Rangers pairing off 2-on-1 against the 5 machine generals, and kicking off one of the most impressively executed battle sequences of all time.
Okay, first up we have Jason and Cole.
They fight General Vengeance, who matches the rookie move for move and bats him away, before the old school vet flies in to show him how it's done, delivering a gravity-defying flying corkscrew kick to send the bad bot reeling.
More phenomenal!
That's a new move for Jason.
Yeah, it really feels more in line with Tommy's Ninjetti corkscrew kick from the original movie continuity.
Movie?
Oh, right. You see?
Let's just forget I asked.
Sure. Next up we have our second oldest and second most recent full season Reds, Tommy and Wes.
They combat apparent second-in-command Jarek, Wes dual-wielding his Chrono Sabers while Tommy keeps things hand-to-hand afoot, finishing the job with a Zeo flying power kick that sends Jarek flying off in a sine wave pattern to his destruction.
Reminds me of the time he rescued the Angel Grove Angelettes from Goldar in the woods.
Yes, opposites attract. Easily the most linear horizontal jump ever seen.
He does have a tendency to violate parabolic projectile motion, doesn't he?
Oh, and speaking of the consequences of gravity, next up we've got their backup Red Rangers, Oriko and Eric. During their matchup against Tesla, the lone female presenting general, Oriko's ninja dodges lead to her laser blasting the moonscape, causing an avalanche of lightweight moon boulders that the Rangers narrowly avoid through a series of downhill handsprings and cartwheels until Oriko lines Eric up for a finishing shot with his Quantum Defender. Oh, that's his dino-themed laser gun sword thing.
So basically a blade blaster.
Basically a blade blaster. Oh, and speaking of blasting blades, next up are Leo and TJJ versus Automon, matching up their Quasar Saber and Turbo Lightning Sword against his Blue Stinger borrowed Stinger Blade, countering his acrobatic aerial attack by doubling up with the Trans Dagger and Turbo Blade for a leap and spin twin dual-wield finisher. Although technically Leo doesn't actually use his Trans Dagger for anything other than a cool pose at the end.
Sounds like these Rangers have quite the arsenal.
Oh, you've got to hear about the final matchup. Andros and Carter. Steelon's going to town with the Mega Blue Beetleborg's Thunder Stinger, which I think Kay may have later retrofitted into a Sonic Soundwave blast cannon, when the pair dive out from cover in a perfectly synchronized series of flips, dodges, and alternating Astro Blaster and Rescue Blaster cover fire before bringing Carter's Thermo Blaster into the mix, disarming Steelon and knocking him out with a triple blast. And honestly, I'm not doing it justice. Like, half of it is a smoothly coordinated single take with Matrix-style slow-mo, and I know you don't know what that means because The Matrix came out in 1999, and 1998 was when,
When Andros.
Zordon.
When he and I met for the last time.
Yes.
I remember now.
Zordon, I'm so sorry.
No, don't be. He did what was needed. All Rangers are forced to make difficult decisions. I'm sure that the same has been true for you and for all the other Rangers in your tale.
True. I mean, even after Cole's Blazing Lion Crystal Saber attack drives off Venjix, the General is still able to escape to Serpentera's cockpit and launch that
One ugly sword.
with the veteran Red Rangers having no Zords of their own on hand with a chance of stopping it.
Okay. There's nothing.
You mean
Nothing I can find. Nothing I can do. Everywhere I look, there's just endless nothing out there. I failed. I always fail. Every time I try to fix things, I tried to free myself and my friends, and I unleashed the end of the world. I tried to undo that, and I somehow managed to hand the cosmic manifestation of evil the tools to threaten reality. Every time I try to fix things, it just keeps getting worse.
you want to feel sorry for yourself? Okay. You want to feel guilty and unsure of your abilities? I completely get it.
No, you don't. You don't understand what it's like to carry that weight. You haven't lived my life. You don't know what it feels like to spend your entire childhood hearing how everything comes down to you and you alone, and then to fail, and fail, and fail again.
I do. I grew up with them too, you know, but I was never as good as you. They always told me that I wasn't as good as you, and I couldn't be as good as you, and the only way I could be good would be if I found you, and if I didn't, I would be responsible for everything bad that happened. And I tried, and I failed, and I tried, and I failed, and I came close once when we identified a pair of promising twins, but then I convinced them that they weren't suitable because they couldn't possibly be like you.
You saved them. You saved my friends.
No, I ruin everything. I always do. That's why we had to go into the rift.
Their names. What were their names?
Who? The twins? Oh, they were... always reminded me of geology. Gem and...
Gemma? Then you did something right, Doctor. You did something very, very right.
Right, Oh. This is a hug. This is what a hug feels like.
Ow! That's enough.
Oh, sorry.
You see, Kay? You're not alone in this. And no matter how you feel, the world needs you.
As nice as that sentiment is, I still don't have any idea how to even start to tackle this problem.
The same way you tackle any problem. You start by taking the first step. Together.
Together. You're right.
I'm not alone in this. We'll need some sort of tether for our signal, and I think I might now have an idea what that first step might be.
Now, there's no time to get back to the megaship, at least according to Carter, so they only have one option available. Cole summons the...
Wild Force Rider!
And what is the Wild Force Rider? A mighty carrier Zord?
Oh yeah, he doesn't really have one of those.
A singular Zord, then. That seems insufficient to combat Serpentera.
Actually, all of his team Zords are back on Earth, living on a floating island called the Animarium, and I don't even think any of them are really equipped for space travel.
So then what is this powerful weapon?
It's a motorcycle.
A motorcycle?
A flying motorcycle with bird wings.
A flying motorcycle with bird wings.
A flying motorcycle with bird wings that was just given to him by an ancient Megazord taking on the form of a young boy right before ascending to a higher state of being.
And this vehicle has served him well in the past?
Not really. This is his first time using it.
Ah, so this is a story of loss. I am sure that his sacrifice will be remembered.
Yeah, no, here's the thing. It actually works. Cole flies around Serpentera, dodging blasts and sparkly skidding to a stop in front of it, before just flying straight at it, deflecting a mouth blast down its throat, and then soaring out the tail end of the Zord just as both Serpentera and General Venjix are destroyed in a massive cascading explosion, much to the acclaim of his fellow Red Rangers, who cheer him on as he waves to them from above.
We are speaking of the same Serpentera, correct? Lord Zed's personal Zord, with a head that dwarfed the Thunderzord assault team, capable of annihilating the deserted planet?
Yes, although weirdly quite a bit smaller than usual.
Oh, well, that explains everything.
Come again?
Much like with a giant monster, Serpentera's tremendous size was only maintained through the influx of incredible amounts of energy from Lord Zed. Years of lying dormant without its master must have reverted the Zord to its original size, meaning that this General Venjix had been unsuccessful in restoring Serpentera to full power before launching it from the moon.
Huh. That does explain everything. Cool. After congratulating the rookie, the 9 human rangers return to the Nasada base on Earth, where Tommy thanks them all for their service and they all join fists, with Leo still randomly appearing and disappearing from moment to moment due to the dimensional offsets.
Now we just need you to place your hand right here with ours.
And this should do the trick, right?
During my last interdimensional excursion, the wireless interdimensional interface portal alignment device managed to preserve the coordinates of the wireless interdimensional interface home unit via a transdimensional tachyon connection, at least until that connection was severed. Although the circuitry may be too damaged to generate a new connection, so long as we still have that one,
we should be able to use our 3 biosignatures to build from there.
Together.
Right. Dr. C, how are we looking?
Ready to scan.
Then let's do it.
We got it! We got the connection! Yippee!
Thank you. And thank you. We couldn't do this without you.
All right, Ben. Let's get to work on our Ranger hotline.
Having successfully answered the call, the Rangers all watch Tommy depart, and Cole expresses his admiration for the supposed greatest Ranger ever, only for the other Red Rangers to break in with tales of their own adventures and accomplishments, culminating with TJJ's...
Did I ever tell you guys about the time I got baked in a giant pizza? Yeah.
And that's the end of the story. So, what did you think of it?
Well, that was quite the tale of camaraderie and teamwork, even if the culmination of their victory was somewhat unexpected.
Yeah, even with all the adrenaline of the incredible battles leading up to it, the entire sequence with the Wild Force Riders still feels a bit anticlimactic, especially since you've got 10 Red Rangers up against the most intimidating Zord of all time, and then only one of them actually gets to engage in the final showdown. I mean, sure, I get that Cole's the protagonist, and this is his season, and there are budget limitations and contractual obligations, but still.
Phantom Ranger, I have a question to ask of you.
Yes, Zordon?
You keep referring to the Rangers' exploits as if they were part of some media property. Why is that?
Oh, yeah, that's kind of the thing. For the last few years, I've been in a universe where that's exactly what they are. A television franchise.
Really?
Television, movies, toys, video games, comics, everything. And in that reality, this story was the 10th season anniversary special.
10 years. Quite the accomplishment.
As hard as it is to believe, the franchise was actually celebrating its 20th anniversary just before I left to come here. Well, technically they were celebrating during the 21st season, and the 22nd was the one that actually aired right before I left, but that year happened during a single day due to temporal distortions, so I didn't actually get to catch up on it until I came here, and I still haven't made it to the finale of that installment in the 23rd season, but with the way that time works here, they could be coming up on year 30 for all I know.
To think that my Rangers would have such a unique legacy.
This celebration still holds as a standout, though, in large part due to the fantastic attention to detail. Not detail in the plot, mind you, as the story itself is rather simple, with the heroes teaming up to take on a fairly straightforward villainous plot to destroy the Earth, and multiple bits of supporting backstory are glazed over to the extent that they almost feel like plot holes, especially with regards to the original defeat of the Machine Empire and the restoration of Jason's powers. Not to say that there aren't answers to those questions. The writer of the episode, Amit Baumick, was a longtime fan of Power Rangers before joining the production team, and actually founded a popular website called the Power Rangers Online Archives, so he clearly knew the history of the Machine Empire and chose to streamline the dialogue to save on time, and even developed an explanation for Jason's powers that tied into a Dark Ranger that only existed within the 90s comics, which demonstrates a pretty deep understanding of the lore. In fact, Serpentera's presence on the moon was explicitly a reference to a fan-generated false ending to Power Rangers Zeo called Scorpion Rain, along with Tommy's line, "Oh man, that is one ugly sword." The whole thing was a rumor about an Australian miniseries done with stock footage and action figures that he worked up with other fans as a prank, but thanks to this episode, it is kind of canon now. And earlier drafts of the script were reportedly chock full of other internet fan references that later had to be cut. But what is left behind is a veritable cavalcade of continuity references, including recycled props like the chess set from Power Rangers in Space, or the weapons used in the final battle against the Machine Generals, Andros' classic cloak, the Rescue Rover, Nasada and the Megaship, Alpha 7 being a mix of the two in-universe Alpha designs, and of course the stories they swap at the end of the episode. And outside of the obvious guest stars, we even get voiceover cameos from Richard Horvitz as Alpha 7, Dave Walsh as Automon, Scott Page-Patcher as Steelon, Catherine Sutherland as Tesla, Walter Jones as Jarek, and Archie Cow as General Vengeance. Oh, for reference, Catherine and Walter, that's Kat and Zach.
Ah, so even more of a reunion than it appeared.
Exactly. They really tried to go all out, despite considerable limitations of time and budget. In fact, the whole underlying reason for the inclusion of the Wild Force Rider in the climax was specifically to gain additional funding from the Bandai America Toy Company. Overall, Forever Red earns its reputation as a standout team-up and anniversary special, not only because of the fantastically executed action sequences, pairing up Rangers who had never had a chance to interact before in ways that feel organic, but because its simple story demonstrates a deep love of the characters and each of their respective legacies. Despite its shortcomings, it is bursting at the seams with references to the past that remind you of just how far Power Rangers has come, how much it's grown, and how its universe is always expanding. Forever.
Agreed. Thank you for the story, old friend. It is good to know that the legacy of my dear Rangers has lived on, even after my own departure. I take it then that my sacrifice worked.
It did. Well, mostly. It at least destroyed the forces that were serving Dark Spectre at the time.
That was all I could have expected. After months of having our energies linked, I suspected that my destruction would generate a chain reaction with all others who would join their powers with his.
Zordon, I'm sorry, but I have to ask, how are you here right now? How did you survive?
I don't know that I did. I remember Andros shattering my energy tube. I recall that now. I remember drifting away as my consciousness spread out towards the universe, but a part of me, this part of me, became caught somehow, separated from the rest of my consciousness, trapped.
By the rift. When your energy wave was released, part of you, must have gotten caught in the rift created by Dark Spectre's destruction.
Phantom, what is this place?
We call it, well, I call it, the hiatus. A highly interactive, abstract, temporally unstable space that exists in the gaps between realities, where highly entropic plasmatic masses are heavily influenced by psionic fields.
If that is true, then I suspect that the only reason we are able to speak now is because of you. And because of the connection that we share.
Connection?
Yes.
Zordon, you mentioned before that we were friends. How long have we known each other?
Eons.
Does that mean that you know who created me?
Created?
Well, I'm a synth-organic biomechanoid, aren't I? I must have been constructed by someone.
Ah, now I understand your confusion. My friend, your body was constructed, but not you.
What?
After the wizard Lerigo released me from my time warp and allowed for me to finally return to Eltar, I did so without a body. That is why my essence had to be contained within the energy tube. To prepare for my arrival, a new corporeal form was constructed. A test was required, and you volunteered.
Because I didn't have a body either. Not a real one.
For as long as I had known you, your essence was contained within your armor. There was a possibility that the process wouldn't work, but you were willing to make that sacrifice.
Well, that sounds like me.
The body was designed by scientists from across the galaxy to have composite properties from Earth, Aquitar, Triforia, Edenoi, and Eltar, to ensure maximum stability for the transfer of energy.
So I'm part Eltaran? Huh. That would explain my hairline.
What about your hairline?
Nothing. So, that's why we're able to communicate. Because my body was literally built to interface with your energy. That's our connection. That's why your voice felt so familiar. It's almost like you've been in the back of my head this whole time, narrating each adventure, reminding me of what's happened before, and what's happening now. On Database Rangers Power Reviews.
Power Reviews?
It's something I've been using to try and find myself again. I was lost for a time too, and I still haven't quite put it all back together yet.
I understand. I too know what it is like to lose yourself. Sadly, Dark Spectre's invasion interrupted the process that would have made me whole again. Is there anything I can do to help you?
Is there anything else you know about where I came from? Or where my powers came from?
I'm sorry. You were always very guarded about your past. But I know that you are always willing to help, regardless of the personal cost to yourself. And I know that the ruby in your chest holds a powerful connection to the Morphin Grid. A connection that transcends time and space.
Good to know. But, speaking of connections across time and space, that brings me to the reason I called you here in the first place. I need to ask you something about your pupil, Gosei.
What?
I need to know how he found the Ranger keys.
Who?
Gosei.
Gosei what?
What? No, he's a who.
Who is?
Gosei!
What do you want me to say?
No, it's... You don't know who he is, do you? You don't know the name Gosei.
It is a name?
Yes, it's a name! Gosei! Gosei! He... Oh no. Oh no 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 no. No 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 no. Hey, Guy, Mayo, are you there?
What is it?
It was in the name. It was in the name the whole time.
What are you talking about?
Gosei! Gosei. It's right there in the name. He was never a character at all. He was a communications device.
Oh. Wow. That makes weird amounts of sense.
It all adds up. We know that Gosei was able to communicate across dimensions because he did so while the rift was closed and all his rangers were visiting Corinth.
They what?
Sorry, you were not there for that one. But they used the Turbo Falcon Zord to punch a hole through the fabric of reality.
Wait, you mean my prototype?
Yes, it was developed using Professor Cog's technology, right?
Yes, it was based off his transitional reality alignment interface network.
Wait, train? Really? Whatever. The point is, Dark Spectre wanted us to be traveling back and forth between realities. He said as much, which means the Ranger keys...
Phantom Ranger. What are the Ranger keys?
They're connections to Ranger powers, to every Ranger power. Past, present, future, alternate timelines, and powers that never even existed. And all those connections, all those legendary morphs.
They were tearing through the barriers between realities.
Compromising causality itself.
No.
And that means the legendary battle, Troy's dream, all of those Rangers from across dimensions in the same place at the same time. That was all part of the plan.
He orchestrated a nexus, an overlap between all these connections across realities. Activating them all at once would have created a tremendous pulse of energy.
The kind that can be seen from space. The timing. That's what did it. That's what created the fluctuation.
In the cross-dimensional continuum.
Okay, just so I'm clear here. We're saying that the time storm and all the other weirdness that we've been going through happened because of a crossover?
It's more than just that. We were aware of the temporal distortions in our world, and that Guy's universe was experiencing similar phenomena. But if this legendary battle is at the center of it all,
then all realities are at risk.
We need to warn the other Rangers. Now!
Phantom.
Don't worry, Zordon. We're going to find a way to make this right. Okay, Mayo, what's the progress on the communications relay?
Well, at least we've got connection now, but,
there's still too much interference from the temporally unstable dimensional currents.
So much strain.
What is it, Zordon?
Can't hold together much longer.
Zordon, wait!
Database, the sensors.
Please!
He's coming.
We're detecting a new fold in space-time.
No time. Time. Past. Present. The endings are in the beginning.
No!
It's Dark Spectre! He's on his way!
No, Kay. You're wrong. He's already here.